Hi, I'm Embry, and this is Embry's Corner, and welcome back to my channel. Hi y'all. I do have another video for y'all. Today's video is 10 Netflix movies slash TV series. I mean series, because they don't have, it's not a TV show. Series that I love and would suggest to you. So if you like to see what movies and series I was interested in on Netflix this year, so I will be doing I got a list right here on my iPad, which I use like a computer, and I love so much. I adore it to the fullest of its abilities. So I did make a list, and I made this video a while ago. I made this list a while ago, and just like it's actually 11 shows, series on Netflix that I love that I'm going to tell you about, but it's only supposed to be 10, so ignore that last one. Ignore the 10 and just take it for what it is. I got carried away. So oh, and I will be doing the What's on my iPad video very soon. I just got to get it set up and fixed up how I want. I really haven't had time. I've been really tired, so I just haven't really been doing that, but I am going to do so soon. I'm trying to give it at least a month, that way so I can get used to, I can, you know, mess around with all a little bit, figure out what I can do, what I can't do, what's the limits on it, and then I'll come back and I'll give you a full in detail what's on my iPad, promise. So let's get into this video. So I will have the name of the shows and movies listed right here on the bottom, so you can see in order. I'm gonna try to get it in order. I mess up sometimes, but I'm gonna try to get it in order. And so let's get into it. First movie on my my list is The Bridgertons. And The Bridgertons is a series on Netflix and just came out. I think it's ranking #1 right now on Netflix, so that's how good it is. It's very good. I love it, love it, love it. It kind of gives me 50 Shades of Grey vibes. So if you haven't seen it, I would go watch it if I use. So I'm just gonna give you like a small little 5-minute synopsis about each one, and then to the next one. So this movie is about the Bridgertons. It's a well-known to-do family in like the 1900s. I think I'm pushing it around there, 1900s. And it's about a society where women basically, like, it's like this certain time of the year where they basically put on their best. They have balls, parties, all that, and they in search of a husband to start life with. And it's basically like you got to have like this. You got like, it's basically about families like with, you know, wealth and money that tries to put their daughters and sons up with what they would call good matches. So if you was like the Duke or anything that you had like money, that was like a step up from what you was. Maybe you had money, you just didn't have a title, so you would get matched up with a Duke, somebody that had money. Y'all would, you know, pull y'all money and resources together to make more money and more resources. That's how it works. And so the main character in the story is Daphne. I'm about to say Featherstone. Her name is Bridgerton. And she ends up falling for the Duke of West. I forget what name. She ends up falling for a Duke, and the Duke is a little bit of a playboy, and you know, a lot happens. But the Duke knows her brother, and her brother is also a little bit of a playboy. Hint, hint, hint. It kind of runs in like the family, because all of the brothers are fine and playboys, but you know. But anyway, if you haven't seen that, that's just like a little synopsis about what's going on. So if you watch it. It's good. It kind of gives me like Gossip Girl vibes, cause like the Mrs. Whispers. I forget her name, what her name is in the show, but she's like a gossip in the town. She had like a whole column, and it's the person you would least expect it to be. Cause when it came out that it was her, I was like, I know you lied. This girl been like behind it the whole time. But yeah, go watch. I think you'll like it. Okay, so the next show I have is Virginia River. And Virginia River is a series on Netflix. I think it's ranking #2 right now, and it's on season 2. Virginia River is about a small town called Virginia River, and it's I think it's like in Colorado. I want to say in Colorado, maybe Wisconsin. I don't know where it's at. It's in like some small. It's like a little small town somewhere off. And basically, it's about this woman named Mel, and the year prior she suffered like a major loss with losing her child and her husband like months apart. So she ends up moving from her hometown. She sells her and her husband's house, and she ends up moving across the country. I feel like across state to another small town where she gets a job as a nurse practitioner because that is what she is. She's a nurse practitioner, and she gets a job offer in Virgin River where she meets a bartender / former officer of the service. He was in the army basically, where she meets a bartender named Jack, and they instantly get attracted. They instantly get drawn to each other, just like instantly. And there's like a little something there, but Jack has a fling going on with a girl in the town over, and a lot happens with that, and it will also play a part in what happens in season 2. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. I think you'll love it. If you're into that type of stuff, I am a romantic, so this is not for you, but I would suggest you go watch it because you'll like it. The next one is Alexa and Kay. Alexa and Kay is a show. It's like a little teeny bopper show on Netflix, and it's I think it just had like its last. Maybe I will hope it's not its last season, but it's third to last season. And it's just about this girl named Alexa, and she gets diagnosed with cancer her sophomore year, and she ends up going like a whole battle with it, and it basically starts the story after she gets diagnosed with cancer, and after she survives it and comes out of it okay, and what her and her friend go through, and her dealing with chemotherapy, and then having to not to be a cancer girl no more, and just being a regular teenager, and her best friend trials and tribulations and everything. So just about that. The next one is Ashley Garcia, the Teenage Genius, and this show is about Ashley Garcia, and she is what the title is, a teenage genius. And Ashley Garcia graduated high school and finished college all before she is 16 years old. And so she ends up moving to another town where she works for NASA. She moves to Florida where she works for NASA, and she ends up living with her uncle. And while she's there, she ends up going through like the whole teenage experience, basically, like in a new place. So she ends up falling for like the high school jock, and like the little nerd ends up falling for her, but she doesn't have the same feelings, and then like a whole bunch of stuff happens, and you'll just have to watch it and go see what happens. I'm not gonna tell you because that would be spilling the beans. I'm not gonna do that. You have to go watch it. The next one is Juliet and the Phantoms. It's another good show out there for any kids, children, anything. Now I wouldn't suggest the Bridgestones for children, because it's a couple scenes in there that I was blushing a little bit when I watched it. So I wouldn't suggest that show for children. But this show right here, these children can watch, because it was a couple scenes in that show that I had to blush shit. I had to pause. Okay. This get little 50 Shades of Grey kind of East right here. I know they were doing this in the 1900s. I was like that up in there, Okay. Anyway, and this one is called Juliet and the Phantoms. This is about a girl named Juliet. And Juliet has a beautiful powerhouse voice. Like, that girl's voice is crazy, y'all. Crazy. And basically Juliet is dealing with the loss of her mother with her brother and father. And her father is now a single man raising 2 children by himself. So basically he's planning to put the house on the market. Well, before he does that, he has to clean out the house and get it ready for a realtor to come in and show the house. So one day he sends his daughter out into the garage one day to do a little cleaning. So her mom they had like a little guest house, side garage, whatever it is. And basically that garage was her mom's studio, because her mom wrote and did music too, which is where she actually ends up getting her love from. So she doesn't really do music anymore, but she wants to get back in it, but she really can't, because she feels like it's the only thing she had left of her mom, and she doesn't want to it just feels tainted to her. Well, while she's going through all the stuff in her mom's studio, she ends up coming across like an old tape of a band, and the band actually ends up coming back as ghosts, and you have to watch it to see what happens, but it's actually really, really good. And a little funny little sprinkle that I can give y'all is that if you watch the movie, if you watch the show, the first episode of the show where it shows the band and them performing, her mom is actually the girl that's sitting in the club watching the band perform, and they give her a t-shirt. She's actually that girl. And it's funny because she ends up falling for the lead singer, the daughter does, so it's kind of weird if you think about it. But anyway, so yeah, that's that first episode. I mean, that's that show. Then the next one is Raising Dion. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest you go watch it. And what rock are you living under? Because if you are, if you haven't seen the show or any of these shows or movies, you're under a rock. Get off the rock. All right, so the next show is Raising Dion, and this show is about a little boy named Dion and his mother, and she is coping with being a single parent because her husband died unexpectedly. He disappears and dies unexpectedly, and she doesn't know what happened. So she has to go through like the trials and tribulations of raising him alone. But not just any son, the son with superpowers, because he got superpowers. He can fly, he can be invisible, he can teleport, he can do all of that. Anyway, and Dion is a little boy, and how Dion got his powers is actually through his dad. So his dad ends up going on this trip and with him and a couple friends for a business trip, of course. And something happens, and they end up getting like zapped or zipped with this something that happens in the atmosphere. I don't know what happens. Anyway, and it basically modifies his DNA to give him these abilities. And when he goes home and his wife ends up pregnant, the abilities actually transfer to his son, and his son ended up gaining the same abilities. So it's just about him and his mom trying to function, have a normal life with him having these abilities and not being able to control them, and all that kind of stuff. And they end up finding out that his dad is actually still alive. They just don't know how to get him back. But that's another story for another day, and we'll figure it out soon. Hopefully in the next season, because there is a next season. We just caught wind of like this month there's another season coming, so that comes out soon. Alright, so the next one, let's hear this long. So the next one, that was the last one for the series. So the next one is movies. And most of these movies you might know, most of them you might not know. So let's get into it. So the first movie is Walking Away from Love. So this little show is a romantic comedy, and I love black cinema. It's my favorite. I love it. And this is black cinema at its best. It's a romance. And the men in this movie are fine, okay? Fine, with a capital fine, okay? Fine, all of them. So it's about this girl, and this girl is a lawyer, and she works in a firm. And in the firm, she's actually having a little fling with one of the other lawyers, one of the other partners in the firm, undercover. So, but what you don't know about her is that she's actually dealing with the heartbreak that happened a year ago. 3 years ago, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, and the heartbreak kind of left her a little closed off to men. Even this man who's actually really loves her. And so a lot of things happened that she didn't quite understand with her last relationship, and she ended up leaving. And so then he pops back up out of nowhere when she's trying to open up and get acquainted with this new fella that she's not really sure that she has feelings for, but she can't deny that she got feelings for him. And like a whole lot of stuff pops off with that, and she actually ends up pregnant, but you have to watch to see how that turns out and what happens with that, because I am gonna watch it tonight because it was just that good. Anyway, on to the next. Always a Bride. Now, if you haven't seen this show, you haven't heard about this show, you haven't scrolled through the feed on Instagram and seen a couple clips here and there of this show, then I don't know what rock you're living under, but get off from under it, because this show is life, okay? This movie is life. So Always a Bride is about a girl. I can't think of her name right now, but y'all remember the dude from Black Lightning that played China Ann McCoy's boyfriend, the one that kept dying and coming back. He in his, y'all, and he ain't dying, and he fine too. Just saying. So she actually has like some trauma with her dad. She actually has trauma with men from her dad and her mom, especially because her dad actually steps out on her mom and she actually catches him in the act. And he kind of sweeps it under the rug when the mom forgives him. And he kind of thinks that just because the mom forgave him that she was supposed to too, but that didn't work out like that, and she doesn't. And she actually has trouble trusting men because of that fact. So she ends up meeting this guy, Q, sexy from Black Lightning. She ends up meeting him, and she actually went to school with him, and he had a crush on her back then too. But they end up talking and getting together with her, and some things happen, and it all comes out like what her real problem is and everything like that. So you have to watch it to see what happened, if she stays a bridesmaid. If she stays a bridesmaid, so actually ends up becoming a bride. So we'll see. You'll see, because I already know what's gonna happen. You gotta go watch it. The next one is number 3 is To All the Boys I Love, or Loved, however you want to say. Then there's actually a part 2 to this movie. So if you haven't seen this movie, I think you will like it. So this movie is about L.E.U. Jean. I got her name finally. I couldn't think of it when I filmed this the first time. Anyway, let's hurry up. L.E.U Jean is a teenager in high school. She's a sophomore. And L.E.U Jean has never had a boyfriend, but she's been in love 5 times. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With 5 different boys. And one of them is her sister's boyfriend, but that's another story. Anyway. And so, in the movie, she states that anytime she's had a crush so intense, so insane, that it be so insane and so intense that she has to write a letter to them, but she doesn't actually send a letter. She puts it in the box and hides it, and hides her feelings along with the letter. So one day after her sister leaves to go to college, her little sister decides, okay, this is just sad. You need a boyfriend in your life. Let's do something. She helps her sister out a little bit, and she finds the letter in her room, and she sends them all out to all the boys, which is funny. And how L.E.U Jean finds out is another way, but you have to watch that and see what happened and how everything come about. So yeah, go watch that. And part 2 is like a play off on the last letter that we did not actually hear about at the end of the first movie. We did not hear about it until like later. Well, we actually don't end up hearing anything from the letter, cause I think it ends up getting something back. I don't know what happened with the letter, but we don't actually hear anything about the last letter. She ends up hearing from all of the boys except for like one, and he shows up in the next movie where he actually responds to the letter, and they end up meeting at a senior citizen home. Well, some things happen here, but you'll have to watch it to see what happened. I'm trying to hurry up, y'all, so y'all give me a moment. Okay. This one is The Kissing Booth, and this is number 4. The Kissing Booth, and if you haven't seen this, like I said, you're literally living under a rock, because everybody has seen this. Because this was trending. I think this one, that one, Bridesmaids, all those movies was trending number 1 for about a good week on Netflix when they first hit the fan. For real. If you're not watching this, I don't know what you're doing, because you're sure not living. Thank you. Anyway, The Kissing Booth. So The Kissing Booth is about Elle, Lee. Elle and Lee, they've been best friends since birth. Their moms was actually roommates in the living room. So they've been attached to the hip ever since. And Elle's mom eventually ends up dying because she gets sick and she dies. And her and Lee are best friends, like unbreakable bond. And they basically grow up together. They get into high school together. They do everything together. And so Lee has an older brother named Noah. And Noah is foreign, okay? Foreign. I mean, like 6'5", white drummer, and he buff. He fine as hell, okay? So Noah is actually Lee's older brother, and he is a bad boy of sorts. But not like in the sense like you would think a bad boy is, like, because he really doesn't fit the description of a bad boy, but he's considered a bad boy in this movie. And he likes Elle a lot. And he feels stupid for liking her because that's his little brother's best friend, but he can't help his feelings. So anyway, Noah, I mean Lee and L's number one rule in the movie, and you'll find out, is that she's never allowed to venture any kind of relationship outside of a friendship with Noah. And that's where the problem begins, because she actually has feelings for Noah, and she has had feelings for Noah for a long while. And when Noah finally confesses his feelings for her at the kissing booth, which plays a big part in how this all starts up to begin with, you'll find out how it all unfolds and unravels and all that. And like, and the second one kind of plays off of like the end of the first one. So the end of the first one, Noah actually leaves to go off to Harvard to be a doctor. I can't help it but say that every time I talk about it. He leaves to go to college to be a doctor. A doctor. Anyway, he ends up getting accepted into Harvard Medical School to become a doctor. And while he's there, he's actually feeling for L, who's always across the world, and L's feeling for him while he's always on the other side of the world. And he wants her to call him, and she's not. But she not that she doesn't want to. She's just wanting to give him time to settle into college life and get used to it. Well, one day while they're on FaceTime or whatever, you know, L hears some of his friends coming. He says he's about to. She said, "Okay, well, have fun. I miss you. Call me when you get back." Then I heard that went. Well, before she gets a chance to hang up, in walks Sis, and Sis is a model, and she's beautiful. But that's not the problem. The problem is that she's around my man, and he's about to be a doctor. I don't trust you, Sis, and I don't know you, and he hasn't mentioned you. So where the hell did you come from? We don't know. But anyway, L ends up like, you know, getting like a tick in her head about who this girl is, and she thinks there's something going on between her and Noah, but there's not. They're friends, like good friends, just that. Like, she is to him what Lee is to her. It's how he says it later. She's his Lee, and she actually understands that later, and I think they actually end up becoming friends. Anyway, so that's part 2, and a lot of things happen in part 2. You just have to watch to see what happens with that. And and it's also a part 3 coming out, I think this year or next year, I'm not sure. And part 3 plays off something that's like vaguely mentioned in part 2, which is L and Lee are seniors in part 2, and they're getting ready to go to college. They actually graduated in the movie. In like at the beginning of the movie, when L is talking to Noah asks her like what colleges are she considering, if she's considered any schools in Boston. Well, if you don't know, L and Lee actually decided a long time ago that they will always attend Berkeley University together. And so her dad's basically been saving for that one school her whole life. So it kind of throws her into like the midst of a dance competition and all that. You have to watch to see what happens with that. But that's actually going to play out in the third movie. So you'll be sticking around for that after you see the first 2. So I suggest you go watch it and catch up along with all the boys I love and all the boys I love. You know, catch those 2. Anyway, so the last movie on my list is actually a Christmas movie, and it's a 3-part Christmas movie, if you don't know. So it's called A Prince, and the first one's called A Prince. The second one is called A Christmas Prince Royal Wedding, and the third one's called A Christmas Prince Real Baby. Alright, so it's exactly how it sounds. The first one she meets the dude, the second one she marries the dude, the third one she's pregnant by a dude. It's just like it sounds. So like I said, but you have to watch it to understand. I actually really like it. I actually made this list out around Christmas time, so that's why there's actually a Christmas movie on here. But you know, I love it. It was good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So like I said, in the first one, she's a reporter, and she catch wind of a story from her boss about a prince in Moldova, a playboy prince, because he's not really a playboy prince, but the media calls him a playboy prince because they basically say he's about to reject the crown. He doesn't want the crown. And so it has a lot to do with a lot of things that are going on, and how he doesn't feel like he can rule or whatever like that. He doesn't have the confidence to rule. And so she basically goes there and figure out what's the story, what happened, and she actually catch wind of him being adopted, and it actually affects his chances of being Prince. But she ends up finding something where his dad went back and tried to fix it. Well, he fixed it so that he could take over and be heir to the throne, and so with his children and their children and their children, you know, whatever. He actually has a little sister who's in a wheelchair who suffers from spinal bifida, and she's confined to a wheelchair, and she plays like a part in like her and them being together and all of that. So yeah, you have to watch it. And part 3 is like just about what the last one's about. Plays off the end of the first one, where he proposes to her in New York in front of her dad's deli, and they're planning a wedding and some things go down there. And part 3, that was part 2. Part 3 plays off no, it doesn't play off anything. Part 3 is about her and their life together, and she actually is pregnant in part 3, and some things happen with the treaty that they had over like 100 years, and it's very special. It's like a yearly thing to sign it around Christmas time, and something happened with the treaty or whatever. You'll just have to watch it and see what's the tea, what's good, what's real, what's not, what's going on. You have to watch it and see what happens. But it's a good movie, and so were all the other movies I suggested to you. All of them are good. Now, I would children. The rest of these movies I think are children appropriate, except for Walk Away from Love, and Always a Bridesmaid. Maybe a child could watch it, but I wouldn't let a child watch that. Anyway, that was it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, all these movies will be listed in. I'll put them in the description box at the bottom, but I also have them listed out. I also have them like coming across the screen throughout the video, so that you'll know what I'm talking about or whatever. Anyway, I also have them listed across the screen, so you can go write them down, screenshot, whatever, and go watch these movies, shows, series, whatever, and fall in love as I have, and get deeply invested as I have, and we can have something to talk about, So if you want a part 2 to this, I can do this with a whole different set of movies, because like I said, those were just a few of the movies and shows on Netflix that I thoroughly enjoy. I also watch Fuller House. I've been watching the Selena series. I've been watching a whole lot of stuff. So I know we all have since COVID started, and we're gonna continue. This is basically the whole set for COVID. Like, this is basically what's popping around COVID. You know what I mean? Netflix is popping around COVID, because all the good stuff coming out around COVID. I hope you enjoy, hope you liked it, hope you enjoyed this and like this, and please, like I always say in all my videos, say what you think, what you like, what you want to hear, what you want to see. I will do my very best to make those happen for you. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you like it, and I'll see you next one. Bye bye.